If I was to ask you why you started your business, my guess is the first thing that comes to mind is not so that I could go sell. I want to go hit the pavement. I love sales. If you've ever hesitated before hitting send or are afraid to follow up or avoid the follow up or just are not quite sure how to ask for the sale, then this episode is for you. There are 3 hidden reasons that keep you from selling your products or services. And today we're going to dive deep into what those are, because I believe if we just reframe the way we think about sales, we are going to show up more confidently and be able to serve more of our clients and therefore grow our business. So welcome to pillar number 6 of building a profitable, sustainable business, sales. Welcome to Main Street Success Stories. I'm your host, Jennifer Koch, entrepreneur, business coach, and founder of Next Wave Business Coaching. My first business I opened 2 days before giving birth to my second daughter, but then I grew it for 20 years. I grew it from a local bakery into a national brand and eventually sold it for a profit. I know firsthand how tough the odds can be. Only 1 out of 2 small businesses make it to year 5. That's why I'm passionate about helping entrepreneurs change those statistics through coaching, mentoring, and this podcast, where I share real stories of others, their success, their struggle, their mindset shifts, their fears, and lots of wins along the way. Because none of us are alone in this journey of entrepreneurship, and I want to make sure that you have the support you need. My goal is simple: to inspire you, motivate you, and show you there's a path to building a profitable business. So let's dive into the next episode of Main Street Success Stories. Okay, let's deep dive into pillar number 6, sales. For a lot of entrepreneurs, especially creatives, especially women, the word sales just kind of has this connotation of being kind of icky. It can feel manipulative. It can feel awkward. And so we create this narrative in our mind about what sales means to us. And somewhere along the way, that you have that perception of sales because of an experience you had. I have to imagine that most of us have had some kind of awkward, weird experience with some type of salesperson along the way. I can remember one that comes to mind. My kids were little. They were young, and it was the summer, and we were living in a neighborhood, and, all the toys were out of the garage this one summer day. The little cozy coupe and the scooter and all the things, the sidewalk chalk. We were having a great day. Well, this young girl, she was probably in college, comes walking up my driveway. And I knew right away she was a salesperson. She was going door to door selling. Well, it turns out she was a foreign exchange student over in the US for the summer, representing this company that was selling these educational children books. And I mean, my heart broke for the girl because my guess is she had no idea what kind of job was bringing her over to the States. She was just excited to go to the United States for the summer. So she comes up to me. I'm sitting on the porch. My kids are playing, and she starts sharing these children's education books. But it was so cringy. She was following a script. She would not let me ask questions. She would never pause. She was just talking at me. And honestly, I didn't even look her in the face. I just wanted her to leave my porch so badly that I almost bought the books just to get her off my porch. But I didn't. And I said no. And I can remember her walking away feeling like I was a bad mom because I didn't say yes to these children's educational books. And it was just such a horrible experience. How about this one? Have any of you ever taken advantage of the free vacation and all you have to do is sit through a 2.5-hour presentation? Oh my gosh, my husband and I did that once in Mexico so that we could get a free weekend in Mexico. And, when it comes time for the free presentation, they start to guilt you into the fact and create fear that, oh my gosh, you're never going to be able to afford to take all these vacations. You got to buy into this timeshare experience. And they're so manipulative, and they use your emotions and they use your fear, and they just really go deep into your soul that so many people say yes to these things. I mean, a lot of my friends, my family, and for a while it feels good, but then it quickly becomes, oh my gosh, there's all these fees tied with this timeshare that I have to pay every year. I can never book the week that I want because it's full, and try to go sell. Yeah, good luck. So that is one of the reasons that we struggle with sales as an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, most likely you went into business because you have a desire to help people, to serve people. You're creative. You want to Want to solve a problem for someone, the last thing you want to do is be the timeshare salesman. But here's how we have to overcome this, because the reality is you need to sell or you're not going to have a business. So your first reframe I want you to think about is think back to your last few clients. What successes did they receive? What did you help them with? If you've helped your last few clients, like for me as a business consultant, I'm helping clients with double-digit growth. I'm helping clients go from no money in the bank to 3 to 4 months of cash reserves in the bank. So if I'm helping clients that much, isn't avoiding the sales process actually withholding? Isn't that actually a disservice? And doesn't that actually go against the reason you started your business in the first place? Sales isn't about pressure. It's about helping the right person say yes. So for you, I want you to think back to a time when you just felt ick with the sales process that you were under, that somebody was trying to sell you. And is that the reason, is your perception of sales one of the reasons that's holding you back? Okay, let's talk about reason number 2 that I see. And, this is one that comes up a lot. I once had a client say to me, I've been watching you for 9 months. I was watching, I was lurking, I was just checking you out before I finally, signed up for your program. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, what? You've been out there watching all these months and I have not reached out to you once? Who else is out there? How many more clients am I missing out on? And here's what I hear often and frequently from lots of different business owners who are in the photography business, the event planning business, doesn't matter what you're selling. Oh, I don't want to bother people. Okay, how many times are you going to a networking event? How many times are you sending out a proposal? How much time are you spending on content in your business, like a freebie that you're putting out into the world? People are clicking on it, downloading it, and then they might get a couple automated emails and then they go away. Well, that is a ton of work in the back end of your business to not get results of sales. And is one of the reasons is because you don't want to bother them. So when you think about, I don't want to bother them, what that means is you're really just kind of unclear on what to do next. We're kind of being reactive. We are taking it personally and we're thinking, oh, I don't want to be that squeaky wheel gets greased kind of a statement, right? But here's an interesting fact. A study shows that you have to reach out to somebody 9 times, follow up with somebody 9 times, a prospect. 9 times. That's a lot to turn them into a sale. Their inbox is full too, just like yours is. And 9 touch points seems like a lot, right? So what we do instead is we just hope that they're going to remember us. We just hope that they're going to say yes, and we wait. We sit and we wait and we wait and we wait. Like this gal, I waited 9 months for her. What would have happened if I would have had a system of following up? If I would have reframed and thought, you know what? This isn't about me. Just because they're not saying yes today, it's because people are busy, just like I'm busy. My inbox is busy. And I hate to say this, but they're not thinking about you as often as you think they are. So you're not bothering them. If you don't follow up with people, you are not bothering them. I call this the fortune in the follow-up. If you truly, back to this first step of perception of sales, if you're truly helping somebody, then how can you be bothering them? But there is a way to go about it, right? We don't want to send them 9 emails that say, hey, you ready to buy? Hey, you ready to sign? Because then that would be following into the steps of that gal on my door who was just driving me crazy and wouldn't let me leave. Or wouldn't leave my porch without me saying yes. So I created this system called Fortune in the Follow-Up. And it's a system that removes the emotion, removes the denial, removes the guesswork of what to say. Because not only do I hear a lot, oh, I don't want to bother them, but I always hear, well, what am I supposed to say? What do I do? So it's 9 steps that it's built around touch points that's going to add value, that's going to help people remember you. So you're popping into their inbox or you're sending them a handwritten note or you're popping into their DMs, and it's done in an authentic way that adds value. Because my guess is you don't want to bother them. None of us do. But if we don't follow up, if we don't reach out, they are going to forget about us. And you know what's going to happen? The person who sells interior design work that is willing to do the follow-up, who is clear on what that follow-up looks like, they're going to get the sale, not you. So the second step is the fortune in the follow-up. You have to be willing to follow up with people. You are spending way too much time working on your business to not doing so. Okay, so now let me talk about the third reason that you might be sabotaging your own sales. And that is actually asking for the sale. We get to the proposal, we send it off, we have the discovery call, we go through all the points, and then we kind of get to that point where we hum and haw and we kind of just we hint around and we use the phrase that I've used so many times and now I try not to use so much anymore is, do you have any more questions for me? Because what happens with that, if you end with, do you have any more questions for me? And they say no, then you're kind of like, okay, thank you. And then we kind of trail off and we hope that they read between the lines. We hope that they connect the dots and we hope that they come back and buy from us. And a big reason that I see people afraid to ask for the sale, to be really clear and direct, is fear of rejection. We are avoiding rejection. So if we just kind of drift off and hope that they show up in our inbox in the next few weeks with a, hey, I'd love to get started. How do we get started message? We no longer have to tackle or go head on with rejection. Nobody wants to hear no. Nobody wants to feel dismissed. Just like a toddler who wants my granddaughter's 3, and I'm sure she would like a bedtime cookie right before bed every night, but her parents are saying no. And, as a toddler, there's going to be a temper tantrum. There's going to be an instant meltdown. And there's a fear of rejection because it hits personally. Your business is personal to you. Your coaching business, your photography business, your jewelry business, your art business. It is creative. It is a piece of you. So it feels really personal. So we don't want to hear no from a prospect. We do not want to put ourselves in a position of being rejected because then we start to do that good old mental spiral where we'll say something like, well, why not me? What's wrong with my product? What's wrong with my service? Is it not good enough? So here is the reframe I want you to start thinking about today. Most no's have absolutely nothing to do with you. Most silence from the other end of the inbox, the ghosting that we feel we're getting when we send a proposal or a lead, has nothing to do with you. It's about them. It's about your prospect. It's about the person you can serve with your bakery goods or the person that you can serve with your event planning. It's about their budget. It's about their timing. It's about their priorities, their bandwidth. They just might not be at a place right now. Just like this gal that watched me for 9 months. Could I have moved her up quicker if I would have had a fortune in the follow-up system in place back then? Probably. But at the same time, she had to be ready. It wasn't about me. It wasn't about the services that I was offering. So it's not rejection, it's redirection. And what do I mean by this? There's a really fun read out there. It's a quick read. I think it's like 80 pages. What do they call those now? Punchy books. And it's one of my favorites. It's called Go for No. Yes is the destination. No is how you get there. It's by Richard Fenton. And I'll put a link in the show notes so that you can grab a copy of this. And it talks about how yes is the destination. We're heading for our prospect to say yes, but no is how you get there. Imagine if your whole life you were always told yes. Yes was always the answer. Yes, you can have cake. Yes, you can have those cookies too. Yes, you can go buy that Tesla. Yes, you can go blow a budget and go to the beach 3 times a year and take that vacation. You would be insufferable. You would be somebody most people wouldn't want to be around, right? You would be so self-centered. So the word no exists for a reason, but it's not to derail you or to get you to avoid the sales process. It's not this final verdict in your business. Instead, think of it as valuable feedback. You know what? No is information. It's the gateway to more information. So rejection isn't failure. It's feedback. Think about it this way. Put on a new lens. Every no teaches you something. Maybe it's your messaging. Maybe it's your offer. Maybe you were just trying to sell to the wrong client. Maybe it's your confidence. Maybe it's something to do with your system. And that's all good learnings. When you think about one of the best salespeople you know. And for me, that's my husband. He's really good at it. But he doesn't come across, bold and crass and buy this, buy that. He just comes across really clear. He knows what his clients need and he's just clear with it. So here's a shift for you. When you think about your sales process and asking for the sale, ask clearly. No more kind of hedging around and hinting around it. Well, just be like, would you like to join this coaching program at 6 months? And here's the results you're going to get. Ask clearly, make the offer. They are inundated with so many decisions and so much information. You have to be clear, direct, make the offer. And then follow up. Follow up like they want to hear from you because they do. Don't take the lack of emails back as a message they don't want to hear from you, but do it in an authentic, consistent way. And so I've got the fortune and the follow up as a free guide for you. And there's a link in the show notes. Go grab that and start creating a system to follow up. And then go for no's. Go for no's. Make no's your next best friend because the more no's you get, the better your business is going to get. You're going to get refinement. You're going to get clearer. You're going to probably be able to charge more down the road because you're going to really create something that people are going to want. So let me ask you this. It's February. We're in Q1, which is a season of growth. What would change for you in your business in the next few months if you really thought about what's holding you back in your sales process? Is it your perception of sales? Have you been burned? Have you been in one of those situations like the timeshare situation or the girl on my doorstep situation? And so you just got this idea of icky, manipulative, I don't like it, so I don't want to do it. Is it, I don't know what to say that's holding you back, or I don't want to bother people, or if people really wanted it, they'd come to me? Is it that kind of thought process? Or is it you're just really not clear what you're asking people to buy? Do we have too many offers? Are we trying to position too many things in front of them? So think about those 3 areas of your business. Think about how you approach the sales process and go out to market with a perception that you created this business because you have something that people need. Think about your last few clients. You help them to be your motivator. You have worked way too hard on building this business, building all this content, creating these services and offers to not go sell. So I hope this was helpful. Pillar 6 is here for a reason because we need sales in order to grow a profitable, sustainable business. My passion is helping service-based business owners gain clarity, make confident decisions, and grow profitably without stress and burnout. And one area we can strengthen in your business is your sales process. So reach out to me, set up a clarity call. Let's have a conversation to see what we can do to make that stronger in your business so that you eventually get more yeses than nos. Until next time, thank you for listening and keep going for no.